Have you ever wondered if what people call love is sometimes just fear of being alone? What if many relationships are not built on connection, but on escape? Escape from silence, escape from loneliness, escape from facing the person staring back in the mirror. Most people are not afraid of losing someone else. They are afraid of being left alone with themselves. And that fear changes everything. It makes people stay in relationships that drain them. It makes them tolerate disrespect, betrayal, manipulation, and emotional exhaustion, just so they do not have to sit in an empty room by themselves. But the Stoics warned us about this long ago. Epictetus taught that the person who depends on others for peace will never truly be free. Because the moment your happiness depends on someone else, your power no longer belongs to you. This is not about hating love. This is not about becoming cold or avoiding connection. This is about becoming whole before you hand your heart to another person. Because love born from fear is attachment, but love born from freedom is something sacred. Today, you will discover why staying single might be the most powerful season of your life. And stay until the end, because the final truth may completely change the way you see relationships forever. If this resonates already, comment free. Imagine waking up every morning without emotional chaos waiting for you. No arguments, no mixed signals, no anxiety over whether someone still loves you today. Most people think being single means losing something, but you are finally protecting your peace. This is not loneliness. This is freedom. The wrong relationship can destroy years of growth, not because the other person is evil, but because they are wrong for you. Most people ignore this. They rush into relationships because they are desperate to feel chosen, and desperation blinds people. They ignore red flags. They tolerate disrespect. They slowly shrink themselves just to keep another person around. Marcus Aurelius once reminded himself that your soul becomes colored by what you give your attention to. Think about that carefully. If you spend every day surrounded by drama, emotional instability, and manipulation, eventually your spirit absorbs it. But when you stay single, something powerful happens. Your vision becomes clearer. You stop chasing attention and start noticing character. You stop asking, "Who wants me?" and start asking, "Who deserves access to my life?" That shift changes everything. Because most people lose themselves trying to avoid solitude. But you learned that temporary loneliness is far less dangerous than permanent emotional exhaustion. And here is the painful truth many people realize too late. Some relationships do not heal loneliness. They multiply it. There are people sleeping next to someone every night, yet feeling completely alone inside. That is why staying single is not a punishment. It is protection. Protection from attachments that slowly poison your energy. Protection from people who confuse control with love. Protection from giving your soul to someone who never valued it. And when the right person finally enters your life, you will not cling to them from desperation. You will choose them from strength. Most people never experience that kind of love. Now think about this. How much of your life has already been consumed by other people's emotions, their mood swings, their insecurities, their constant need for reassurance? Relationships often become emotional jobs people never applied for. But when you are single, your time belongs to you again, and that is rare. Seneca said that people guard their money carefully, but waste their time freely. Nothing is more true in modern relationships. Hours lost in arguments, weeks spent trying to fix someone who refuses to change, entire years sacrificed to emotional confusion. But you reclaimed your time. This is not selfishness. This is self-respect. When you are single, you finally hear your own thoughts again. You can wake up early without distraction, build your body, build your mind, chase ideas that excite you, sit in silence without feeling guilty for needing space. Most people do not realize how much energy relationships consume until they finally step away from one. Suddenly, life feels lighter, cleaner, focused. And maybe that is why solitude scares so many people, because once they experience peace, they can no longer tolerate chaos pretending to be love. Imagine spending one full year focused entirely on yourself, your goals, your discipline, your healing, your purpose. Most people cannot do it. They constantly need someone beside them to feel complete, but you stayed. And that decision quietly made you stronger than most people around you. If you feel this deeply, comment strong. The Stoics believed that mastery over yourself is the highest form of power, but self-mastery is impossible when your attention constantly belongs to someone else. Most people cannot sit alone in silence for 10 minutes without reaching for distraction. A text, social media, validation, noise, anything to avoid facing themselves. But when you stay single long enough, you stop running. You face your fears directly. You confront your insecurities. You discover who you are without external approval, and that changes your entire identity. This is not emptiness. This is transformation. There is a reason solitude feels uncomfortable at first, because silence exposes everything you have been trying to avoid, your unresolved pain, your hidden anxieties, your emotional dependence. But instead of escaping, you stayed with yourself long enough to grow through it. And slowly, you became emotionally stronger. You learned how to calm your own mind, how to survive difficult nights alone, how to motivate yourself when no one was cheering for you. That is real confidence, not attention, not compliments, not people wanting you. Real confidence is knowing you can stand alone without collapsing emotionally. Most people build their identity around relationships. Someone loves me, therefore I matter. But what happens when that person leaves? Their entire sense of worth disappears. You escape that trap because you stop depending on others to define your value. Epictetus warned that attachment to external things creates suffering, and nothing creates emotional suffering faster than needing another human being to feel whole. That is why emotional independence is one of the greatest gifts of staying single. You stop begging for reassurance, stop chasing validation, stop measuring your worth through someone else's attention. Instead, you build inner stability, and people can feel that energy immediately. There is something magnetic about someone who does not need constant approval, someone calm, grounded, emotionally steady. Most people are addicted to validation without realizing it. They shape their personality around what makes others stay. They become versions of themselves designed for acceptance. But the longer you stay single and self-aware, the harder it becomes to betray yourself for attention. And that is power, because once you learn to enjoy your own company, desperation disappears. At first, solitude feels heavy. The silence is loud. You miss having someone there. But eventually, something unexpected happens. You begin enjoying your own presence. A quiet walk becomes peaceful. Eating alone becomes freedom. An evening by yourself no longer feels empty. It feels healing. Marcus Aurelius once wrote that nowhere is more peaceful than your own soul. Most people spend their entire lives searching for peace in other people, never realizing they abandoned it within themselves years ago. But you return to yourself, and that return changed your life. This is not isolation. This is reconnection. Most people cannot distinguish between loneliness and stillness. Loneliness is disconnection from yourself. Stillness is intimacy with yourself. And once you discover stillness, you stop fearing solitude completely. That is why staying single can become one of the most transformative experiences of your life, because for the first time, you hear your own voice clearly, not society's expectations, not a partner's demands, not the pressure to constantly perform for love. Your voice, your truth, your purpose. And speaking of purpose, one of the most dangerous things relationships can do is slowly disconnect people from their mission. Most people begin living to please others instead of becoming who they were meant to be. Their dreams shrink, their ambitions soften, their focus disappears. But when you are single, your energy stays yours. You can build without distraction, study without interruption, work late without guilt, obsess over your goals without needing permission. And the Stoics deeply respected purpose-driven living. Marcus Aurelius believed every person has a role to fulfill in this life, but very few ever fully step into it because they become consumed by emotional dependency. Most people sacrifice their future for temporary comfort, but you chose growth over comfort. This is not selfish ambition. This is alignment. And here is the beautiful paradox. The more connected you become to your mission, the less desperate you become for relationships. Because your life already feels meaningful, you no longer need another person to save you from emptiness. You are too busy building something powerful. That energy changes the way you love too. You stop clinging, stop chasing, stop forcing connections that clearly are not right for you. Because when your life has purpose, loneliness loses its power over you. Now here comes the deepest truth of all. Most people enter relationships believing another person will complete them. But that belief creates suffering, because no human being can permanently fill an emptiness you refuse to heal yourself. Read that again. No relationship can save someone who has abandoned themselves. That is why staying single matters so deeply. It gives you space to become whole, to heal your wounds, to rebuild your identity, to discover your values without external pressure. And once you finally feel whole alone, love becomes completely different. You no longer love from fear, you love from freedom. This is not emotional dependence. This is conscious connection. There is no desperation anymore, no obsession, no need to possess another person just to feel secure. Instead, love becomes a choice between two complete individuals walking beside each other, not two wounded people trying to rescue one another from themselves. That is the kind of love most people never experience, because most people rush into relationships before they know who they are. But you slowed down, you faced yourself, you built strength in solitude, and because of that, your future relationships will either respect your peace or they will not exist at all. That standard protects your soul. So if you are single right now, stop seeing yourself as incomplete. Stop believing you are behind in life. Stop letting the world convince you that solitude means failure. Sometimes being alone is the greatest gift life can give you, because solitude reveals who you are without distraction. It teaches emotional resilience. It sharpens your standards. It reconnects you to your purpose. And most importantly, it teaches you that your value never depended on being chosen by someone else. You were already enough before anyone loved you. And you will still be enough, even if they leave. That is real freedom. If this message spoke to something deep inside you, comment "Whoa." And remember this, the person who fears being alone will tolerate almost anything, but the person who has mastered solitude becomes impossible to control. Protect your peace, protect your energy, protect your identity, because the strongest people are not the ones who constantly need love. They are the ones who can stand alone without losing themselves. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe for more Stoic wisdom about emotional mastery, self-respect, and inner freedom. And if you are ready to discover the silent habits that secretly destroy confidence and emotional strength, watch the next video now. It may completely change the way you see yourself